Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys a skilling money making guide. So in this guide, I'm going to show you guys 3 specific methods. They're all going to be related to skilling, so you're also going to gain a little bit of XP from these methods as well. These methods are going to vary quite a bit in terms of GP per hour and the XP per hour, but I will be showing you guys Big Game Hunter as well as smelting a few different types of bars for money, which is a really great AFK skilling money maker. And then finally, I'm going to show you guys making sacred oil. This is an extremely good skilling money making method, even for high level players, but there aren't really many requirements to this method. So a lot of you low to mid level players will be able to do this method and make a ton of money off of it. Anyway guys, I really hope you do enjoy the video, and let's get into it. So starting off with our first money making method in this guide, we have Big Game Hunter. Now I'm going to specifically be looking at the mid-tier Big Game Hunter. That is the most profitable, and the requirements for that is 90 Hunter and 70 Slayer. However, you can also do the low tier Big Game Hunter. The requirements for this is 75 Hunter as well as 55 Slayer. You'll make slightly less money doing this, right around, I would say 6 or 7 mil GP per hour doing the low tier. For the high tier, you can make over 10 mil per hour, up to 12 mil per hour doing it. So I would highly recommend the mid tier if you can. There are also quite a few recommendations for Big Game Hunter just to make it a little bit easier and more efficient. One recommendation is the mobile perk, so you'll be able to use Surge more often, and then also Double Surge is really useful as well. That will allow you to escape the dinosaurs a lot easier. Bladed Dive is really helpful for the same reason. Also, the Quick Traps unlock is extremely helpful, allow you to build the traps 30% faster. This does cost 50 Hunter Marks, however, so if you don't have it, you do get Hunter Marks for completing Big Game Hunter. So after 50 of them, you'll be able to purchase this unlock, and will just make this method much more efficient. Now, as I said, we're going to be focusing on the mid-tier dinosaurs that we will be doing Big Game Hunter for. So specifically these 3, and as you can see, I did put the location to each 3 of these dinosaurs on screen as well. Now, the best one to do for sure is the Corbicula Rex. This one drops the Corbicula Rex meat, which is worth about 290k each right now. It will always drop about 1 or 2 of them, so obviously you're making 290k to 580k every time you get one of these captures. Now, another really rare drop that you can get from the Big Game Hunter is the Dragomatic. It's worth around 19 mil right now, although the drop rate is 1 in 101. So that will obviously help out the GP per hour as well if you get one of those. But if you are doing these mid-tier Big Game Hunter creatures, the money is pretty consistent since they drop their meat every time, and it is worth quite a bit. Now, moving on to the actual Big Game Hunter encounter, you're going to need the bait to start this encounter. You can actually store the bait in the bait box, which is super helpful. That way you won't need to bring all of the bait in your inventory, and it will give you some inventory space because later on in this encounter you will be gathering some materials to actually do the encounter. So to start the encounter, just go to the bait box. You can start it if you have the bait in your inventory. Now when you start these encounters, you will have roughly 20 minutes to capture as many of these dinosaurs as possible. Also, when you first start, you're going to want to start by gathering the resources. So you can see that I'm going to be cutting this tree for a while. I like filling out my full inventory with logs and then fletching approximately 9 to 12 of the spears. That way you won't need to go chop down more logs later on in the encounter. I do find it just saves some time, and it's the most efficient way of doing it. You'll definitely want to cut more logs than the vines, but you also do need the vines to build the scorpions. So start off the encounter by getting a bunch of the spears as well as keeping some logs in your inventory. I like keeping 7 or 8 of them. Then you want to chop down at least 3 vines, and then you can go ahead and start building these scorpions and the pressure plate. Now the scorpions, they cost 1 log and 1 vine to build, and then the pressure plate just costs 1 log. Once the scorpions are built, you can arm them with spears. However, you will need to tip them with poison. So that is what these frogs are here for. You can see that there's 3 different colors of frogs, the yellow, red, and blue frogs. For your first encounter, you're going to want to determine which type of poison is most effective against the dinosaur. So as you can see, I am testing out the yellow poison. So what you're going to want to do is get 2 yellow poison and 1 red. Then when you go ahead and bait the pressure plate, you'll be able to figure out which of these poisons is most effective. So you'll be able to figure out which poison to use by looking at the chat box after you first arm the scorpions and bait the pressure plate. You can see that the golden poison damage did 30,000, so we obviously know that golden is the best because 30,000 is the max hit. Now if you don't get 30,000 on either of the 2 poisons, you'll know that it is the third one, the one you didn't try. But for this encounter, it is going to be the yellow poison. So since the dinosaur only has 15,000 health, we can only arm 1 scorpion and bait the pressure plate again, and we'll get the kill. Now, this is where it becomes really fast. Since you already know the poison, the next encounter is really efficient. You'll just need to arm all of the scorpions with the golden poison or the most effective poison, and you'll be able to kill the big game hunter dinosaur in 1 shot. If you are pretty efficient with big game hunter, you should be able to complete 3 full dinosaur encounters in an hour. So basically once you'll kill enough of the Corbicular Rex, it will go into hiding. Then you'll need to go ahead and move on to another mid-tier dinosaur. So it does work that way. You can't consistently just camp the Corbicular Rex. You will need to move on to one of the other 2 that I did show you. But you can do this for a full hour, and you should make right around 12 mil per hour just off of all of these drops. And moving on to the next money-making method, we have Smelting Bars. This is another really good skilling money-making method. It's also an AFK moneymaker as well. You really don't have to spend much active time doing this money-making method, which is really nice. There are a few requirements to this method, including 94 smithing for the Elder Rune bars, and then also 65 smithing for the Orichalcum bars as well. Recommended is also Superheat Form, which requires 91 Prayer and Curses, also the Light Within quest. Modified Blacksmith Helmet is super helpful. It will increase the profit that you do make. Smelting Gauntlets from the Family Crest quest is also super helpful. Will make this method a lot more AFK. And then the Grace of the Elves is really helpful if you are using the Superheat Form Prayer, since it will have your prayer drain rate. So as you can see, the Elder Rune bar, the grain exchange price for them is actually lower than the cost, so you will be making negative profit off of this if you only have 90 smithing. However, if you do have 94 smithing, you do have a 10% chance to double the bars that you are making. This will essentially make the profit 550 GP each. With the modified helmet, it gives an extra 1%, which increases the profit to 700. Same with the Orichalcum bar. The profit is actually even better, 780 with only the 10% chance to double, and then 850 with the modified helmet. Overall, the GP per hour for both of these bars is about 2 to 2.5 million, and these are currently some of the best bars to make when doing this method. It isn't really that much GP per hour, but is really nice since it is so AFK, and you'll see why. Now again, this money-making method is really simple. You basically just need the smithing level for it. I'm just going to quickly show you guys the price for the ingredients to make the Elder Rune bar. So as you can see, it's 15,400. Now if we do price check one of the Elder Rune bars, it's 14,500. But again, as I mentioned, if you do have 94 smithing, you have a 10% chance to double these bars, which will allow you to make some profit on this method. Now again, the method is extremely simple. You'll just need to be smelting these bars. You'll want to have the same setup I have, so make sure you do have the smelting gauntlets. This will allow you to smelt 60 bars at a time, which will essentially make it a minute and a half without you having to check your computer. So it does make it a really AFK money-making method. The XP per hour for this method is pretty decent as well. You'll make around 80,000 smithing XP per hour, which is really good for an AFK moneymaker. Now moving on to the next skilling money making method. This is one of my favorite money makers in the game. It was one that I did a long time ago, but it's actually still a really good money maker. So it's making sacred oil. You can make about 6 mil per hour doing this method, and the only requirement is the Shades of Morton quest. Also, it is highly recommended that you join World 88 when doing this minigame. It is a pretty dead minigame, so World 88 is the Sacred Oil or Shades of Morton world, so you should have some other players doing this minigame that will help you do it. Recommended is having at least 1 kill on the Barrows brothers. That way you will have the teleport to Barrows. It will make banking really easy. Or you can have the In Aid of the Mire quest. It does unlock a bank just south of the temple, so you can do that as well. 70 plus combat is also super helpful. That way you can kill the shades, and that way you'll get some sanctity that way. It does make this a little bit more of a combat money making method, but you definitely don't have to kill the shades. You can have level 3 combat, and you can still do this method and gain the sanctity by just repairing the temple. Now, as you can see my setup here on screen, I do have the Flame Tart hammer. You really do want to get one of these. You can buy them in the general store at Morton. Also, I have 50 swamp paste, 10 limestone bricks, and 10 timber beams, which you can also buy at the store as well. And then I have the olive oil, which you will be turning into the sacred oil. You can do dose 4s, however, they don't really buy on the Grand Exchange, so dose 3s is what I'm going to be doing. But you can also decant the dose 3s into dose 4s if you want as well. A Beast of Burden is also pretty helpful. That way you'll be able to make more of the sacred oil every trip. And so to start this method, when you are in Morton, you will want to buy the supplies as I mentioned. So the 50 swamp paste, the 10 limestone bricks, as well as the 10 timber beams. Then with the rest of the inventory space, you can buy the olive oil from him in his general store. As you can see, I also have a bunch of the 4-dose olive oil in my Beast of Burden that I will be converting to sacred oil as well. So basically what you do with the building materials is that it will increase your resources level, as you can see under the minigame tab up top. As you can see, my resources is at 102, so it actually caps out at 100, so I won't be gaining any more unless it dips below that. Otherwise, if it is above 100, you won't actually need to do this, but it will always start out at 0 if you haven't done this minigame before. Now you will be gaining sanctity, and sanctity is what you're going to be using to convert the olive oil to the sacred oil. You can gain sanctity in multiple different ways. The fastest way being killing the shades that will appear and start attacking the temple. Now, if you aren't with other people, this is the best way to get the sanctity. However, you might encounter a lot of other people who are also killing these shades. So the second way to obtain the sanctity, which is more of the skilling way of doing it, is by repairing the temple. You'll also gain some crafting XP for repairing the temple. So you definitely will gain some crafting levels if you are a low level account, which is pretty nice since that is an expensive skill to train. So if you do have a full inventory of olive oil, you'll want to try and get your sanctity up to 100 before converting the olive oil into the sacred oil. You might actually need to do this more than once if you do have a Beast of Burden, since it does use quite a bit of sanctity to convert the olive oil to the sacred oil. Now to start converting the olive oil into sacred oil, you will want to light the altar in the middle of the temple. Then you can just use the olive oil on the flame, and you'll start converting the olive oil into sacred oil. Also, sacred oil is priced really high right now. The 4-dose of sacred oil being priced at 17k each on the Grand Exchange, and then the 3-dose is priced at about 13k each. Also, this is a bit of an AFK moneymaker. It is a bit semi-AFK when you are gaining the sanctity. So overall, this moneymaker is exceptionally great. Also, I just completed a full run of sacred oil, and this only took 6 or 7 minutes to complete. As you can see, it's priced at about 700k each, so this is well over 6 mil per hour, and it is an exceptional moneymaker because there aren't really many requirements to it. You could literally do this on a fresh account, get the requirements in probably 10 hours, and then start having a 6 mil per hour money making method. So this is definitely one of my favorite skilling moneymakers in the game, especially for the fact that there aren't really many high-level requirements for it. And so anyway guys, that is it for this video. Those are my 3 skilling money-making methods that I wanted to show you guys. So it is a bit of a short money-making guide, but I really did want to show you these 3 methods, especially the Sacred Oil method for all of you newer players. It is an exceptional money-making method that you guys could start doing since the requirements are really low. If you guys did enjoy this video and enjoy money-making guides in general, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and also subscribe for more content. There's going to be a lot coming soon, so I really hope you guys do enjoy. Anyway guys, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.